GED 103.1 to connect. For the headlines, Philippines ranking on the Pisa results.
Program for International Student Assessment or PISA was first administered in 2000 and is conducted every 3 years. The seven PISA cycle in 2018 covered three foundational domains: reading, mathematical, and scientific literacy. It was participated by nearly 600,000 15-year-old students from 79 participating countries. In 2018, the Philippines joined PISA for the first time as part of the Quality Basic Education Reform Plan and as a step toward globalizing the quality of Philippines' basic education. According to PISA results released on December 3rd, Philippines scored 353 in mathematics, 357 in science, and 340 in reading, all below the average of participating OECD countries with a mean score of 350, compared to China with 578 and Singapore with 556 as leading countries. The Philippines' average performance in reading literacy is within proficiency level 1A. This suggests that in general, a Filipino student understands the literal meaning of sentences or short passages, recognizes the main theme, and is able to connect multiple adjacent pieces of information into one. This also means that most students are unable to identify the main idea in moderate length texts, making it difficult to make comparison based on single features of text and to relate text to external knowledge. Philippines ranks second lowest for mathematical literacy, which classified as below 1 proficiency level. Only 1 in 5 students achieve proficiency levels 2 to 4. These students can use basic algorithms, formulae, procedures, or rules to solve problems involving whole numbers. For scientific literacy, Philippines ranks penultimate and is within proficiency level 1A. This suggests that the average 15-year-old Filipino student can use basic scientific knowledge to recognize or identify explanations of scientific phenomena. With additional guidance, they can do structured scientific inquiries with at most two variables. To summarize the report released by Department of Education, female students outperformed male students in all three literacy domains. Students in private schools perform better than those in public schools. Senior high school students perform better compared with the junior high school students. Students living in urban communities perform better compared to those living in rural areas, and only less than 20% of Filipino students achieve minimum proficiency level 2 in three core skills. This is Joyce and Robles connecting back to you, Churilyn.
Now, update on the present PISA report. Here is May Galasio.
Philippines preparation for Pisa 2021-2022. The COVID-19 situation in the nation, which has an impact on Pisa preparation globally, has caused the program for International Student Assessment or PISA to be postponed. Secretary Briones stated in her address to the Mancom year 2021 that we do not expect to be the number one with the next round, but we believe it is possible not to be last or second to the last. The current planning of the Department of Education concentrates on the following. First, creation of modules to increase teachers and students' knowledge on the PISA test. Second, PISA test frameworks are mapped against K-12 curricula. And third, the familiarity with computer-based assessment and the PISA test methodology. Nevertheless, DepEd is eager to participate in PISA after careful consideration of the results of the informal survey conducted on the subject among EXICOM members, central office and regional directors, and significant partners of education, as well as after taking into account the most recent information on ongoing preparation. And that is our flash news report for today. Back to you.
This is the top of the hour historical aspect of the Philippine education system during the pre-colonial period. During the pre-colonial period, education was informal and unstructured. The central others taught their son in how to read, for food and other means of livelihood. Teachers were tribal tutors, Kabaylan or Katawanan. It was said that the Asian Panay, there was a barangay school called Toan under the teacher usually had education was free and simple. Religion instruction used was Kalibata. The subject taught to the children in this barangay school were reading, writing, reading, use of weapon, and lubos acquiring admin or habits. During the Spanish period, education was authoritarian in nature. Spanish missionaries' instruction was religion-oriented. For this reason, religion was a compulsory subject at all levels from primary schools to universities, a complete system of education from elementary to collegiate level. Attendance at school was compulsory between ages 7 and 12. Meanwhile, education during American period from 1898 to 1946, practical drills and democratic period, a system of pre-compulsory elementary education was established by Malolos Constitution. In 1898, the first American school was established in Coredo. Homicides arrived in the Philippines on August 9, 1901. University of the Philippines, the first school of the university, Department of Public Instruction, set up a three-level school system. The Commonwealth period in 1935 to 1942. 1935 Constitution was a free education in public school. Vocational, some household activities, nationalism like the Filipino heroes was strengthened. The moral fibers to foster a love of country, especially among the education youth. Executive Order Number 263 in 1940, teaching the national in the senior high school, in all years in the normal school, also Education Act of 1940, in national language in senior high school, in all high school in all years in normal school, also Education Act of 1940 was enforced. Reduction of 7 years elementary to 6 years. Fixing the school entrance to age 7. A national support for elementary education. Post attendance in primary children enrolled in grade 1. Adoption of double single session in the primary grade 1 teacher, 1 plus assignment of intermediate grades. Then the Japanese occupation arrived. The Japanese occupation aims was people understand the position of the Philippines as a member of the East Asia Focus Area Spirit, eradication of the idea of reliance on Western spirit, fostering a new Filipino culture, educating the moral of the Filipino, diffusion of elementary education, and promotion of vocation education, striving for the diffusion of the Japanese language in the Philippines, and termination of the use of English in school, developing in the people the love of language. Education aimed at proof of realization of democratic ideals in the way world. Republic Act 1079, Civil Service and Eligibility of Teachers. Republic Act 1265, the daily flag ceremony, signing of the national anthem was also announced. Filipinos' way of life of living, bountiful life during colonial period, from a plain education, from simple writing called Alibata, simple teacher known as Kabaylan Katuanan, but rich in character, was a magnificent book on how we Filipinos prehistoric history educational system was amazing. The basic knowledge of survival and livelihood, this alone proves that the Filipinos can handle our country. Good afternoon. This is your reporter, Marites Serapio, signing off.
Comparison of educational system in the Philippines. So, studying history help us understand how events in the past shape the world we live in today. So, in terms of the education, the history of the Philippine educational system is rich and complicated. From the pre-Spanish period to the present, the Philippine educational system has undergone several eras of growth. The government has focused on or made education a priority to address societal concern. The table will show the comparison of the education system of the Philippines during different colonization periods. This article deals with the features of the Philippine education system. Additionally, it gives information on how the educational system came into existence, the organization and the structure of the system itself. This reference also tackles the obstacles and problems observed in the past and up to the present and gives possible solution to these. So during the period of years on early Filipinos during 900 to 1521, the advantages of education was used to preserve the cultural heritage of the country. The Babaylan, Catalonan, and other teachers were highly respected. And the disadvantage, they were not open to new changes towards advancement of methods and teachings. And the Spanish regime, 1521 to 1898, the advantage is founding a complete system of education in the country, compromising elementary, secondary, colleges level, the establishment of teachers training institutions. And the disadvantage is the priority of education was on Spanish and elites. It took time for girls' education to be established. There were also inequalities in wealth, income, power, prestige, and opportunities in society at large. American era in 1899 to 1943. So disadvantages are the English language was used as a medium of instruction. New subject areas were introduced, such as reading, writing, arithmetic language, good manners and right conduct, civic, hygiene and sanitation, gardening, domestic science, American history, and Philippine history. And the students were given free school materials. So in terms of disadvantage, the Filipino language was barely used in the teaching and learning process. The Filipino students felt handicapped not only because of the language barrier but also because the system was originally designed for American students. There were also schools were provided by the state but no state intends to establish schools which subvert its purpose, values, and ideas.
Now, for our flash report, here is Patrick Babalcon.
Hi, this is John Babacon giving you fresh news about Philippine Department of Education. DepEd currently releases its Department Order Number 50 Series of 2022. This would focus on the issuance of operational guidelines for the approval of the extension and implementation of blended learning modality in select public, elementary, and secondary schools beyond November 2, 2022. This department order states that starting November 2, 2022, all public schools shall have transitioned to 5 days of in-person classes. After the said date, no public school shall be allowed to implement purely distance learning or blended learning, except for those that are expressly provided an exemption by the school division superintendent. Those whose classes are automatically canceled due to disaster, calamities, and those implementing alternative delivery modes. Department Order 34, Series of 2022, directs schools to maintain full operational capacity and accommodate 100% of their learner population in 5 days of in person classes. However, some public elementary and secondary schools may be temporarily unable to comply with the requirement of 5 days of in person classes due to circumstances beyond their control. These are some of the examples: delays in the repair of construction of school facilities due to calamities that will affect overall absorptive capacity of the school, immediate need for relocation of school due to determination and certification by the Mines and Geosciences Bureau of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources or any other appropriate government agency that such school site is unsafe for occupancy and use by the learners. Third, shortage of basic education inputs and resources like teachers, classrooms, furniture that cannot be addressed by existing measures of the department. Existence of unfavorable peace and order situation in the area where the school is located. And lastly, the use of classroom as a temporary evacuation center. Again, this is John Patrick Babelcon. Give you a flash news for today. Thank you and goodbye.
We are now down to the last part of today's news: importance of PISA and relation of history in the improvement of quality education.
Good day, everyone. My name is Jerlyn Estorito from Group 1. My topic is all about relation of PISA in education. So first, let's talk about DepEd in PISA. So by participating in PISA, we will be able to establish our baseline in relation to global standards and benchmark the effectiveness of our reforms moving forward. Next one is the PISA results. Along with our assessments and studies will aid in policy, formulation, planning, and programming. Last one is with the PISA results, also reflecting the learner's performance in the National Achievement Test. DepEd recognizes the urgency of addressing issues and gaps in attaining quality of basic education in the Philippines. Next one is the importance of PISA. So it focuses on the application of skills and knowledge and presents problems in a real world context. Next one is to intend to provide a measure of students' overall performances, preparedness for the future, not just their academic achievements. Next one is to reveals common patterns among high performing schools systems. Next one is the data is also used for benchmarking. Successful school systems have many internal measures, but without greater context. It is difficult to understand what is the best really is. International benchmark shows that what is truly possible in education. They can be a healthy driver for reform efforts worldwide. Next one is the Visa for Schools project contributes to improving student learning opportunities and well-being by empowering teachers and school leaders through global connections and international benchmarking based on a common scale provided by OECD's PISA. Next one is the PISA-based test is for schools is an assessment intended to help school leaders from across the world understanding their 15-year-old students' abilities to think critically and apply their knowledge creatively in novel contexts. And last one is PISA helps schools too. Number one is to measure. So students learn outcomes in mathematics, science, and reading, as well as their social and emotional skills and well-being. In particular, how well they can extrapolate that knowledge and skills and apply them in novel contexts. Next one is to explore. Empower schools leaders and teachers by providing them with the data about their students' performance, learning environment, socioeconomic background, and lastly, motivation for learning. And last one is to act. So provide global peer leading opportunities among teachers and school leaders as they apply their insights from targeted data in their efforts to improve students' learning and the well-being in their schools. Thank you so much for listening.
Hi, my name is Darlene Sarmiento, and I am from the Group 1. I am here to report the relationship of history in the improvement of quality education. So, why do we need to know the importance of history in our education? It is because, first, we have to improve the quality of education, and to do that, we have to look back on where it all started. The study of the past educational experience has many lessons that can be used to improve present educational theory and practice. The problems or challenges we face in our education today are yet not unique. Others have faced the same problems and attempted solutions with varying degrees of success and failure. Next is strengthening the professional competence of the teacher. A proper study of the history of education affects the way in which teachers or student teachers conduct their personal and professional activities. The subject contributes to strengthening both by encouraging the teacher to examine, evaluate, accept, or modify the cultural heritage, and to become an educational critic and agent for intelligent cultural transmission and change, rather than blindly accept the educational status quo, ideas, practices, and unchallenged claims. In other words, an examination of educational theories and practices in their historical context encourage teachers to adopt a critical attitude towards present theories and practices. Third, understanding our own educational systems. I always believe that history will always be important to the present because the past eliminates the present. History not only teaches what education is, but also where it came from, why it came to be, and what it is bound to become in the future. So, history of education is a narrative of the origins, growth, and development of educational institutions, methods, concepts, aims, curricular, theory, and practice, without which they would appear new, unexplored, and untried to us in the present world. The history of education thus help us to appreciate the road traveled by education to reach where it is today. Next, making comparison within a historical perspective. So history of education helps one to draw comparison of the origins and development of several different ideas, practices, and theories of education in different societies. In that way, it can help one to formulate better ideas, patterns, and principles and provide a larger perspective. Next one is the satisfying intellectual curiosity. So history of education is like other areas of knowledge with its own body of knowledge and conventional methods acquiring this knowledge. Human beings and no less teachers and teachers to be are possessed with the inherent desire or curiosity to explore and know what education is, where it came from, and where it is going. So studying history of education satisfies inmate desire. One need to not go beyond this reason to justify the study of history education. And last but not the least is exposing one to knowledge other. So historians of education must always go beyond the confines of their discipline to fully understand the nature of the phenomena they study. They particularly need to be acquainted with the social sciences such as sociology, psychology, philosophy, and comparative education, which can be used in mutually enriching way to analyze important educational ideas. So to summarize, it is really important to know the relationship of history in our education for us to know the right strategies and approach that will lead to a much better quality of education. So once again, I'm Darlene Sarmiento reporting.